Hey, I'm Samaker or just Sam, and in this video I'm gonna show you how to remove watermarks or any small thing or detail from an image using Photoshop. Now before we get started, let me just say a few things. There is a difference between this and this. Don't be a dick. Even though it's super easy, don't remove something like an artist's name. I've done this myself a lot of times, but I don't anymore because I've realized what a dick move it is. So if you're gonna use the method I'm about to show you, just promise me you won't be using it for stuff like this, right? You promise? Okay, good, let's go. Alright, so I'm gonna show you a few examples, starting with this apple right here. Now this is a pretty typical watermark for companies that actually sell pictures, because they don't want you using their pictures without you actually paying them. So it's really difficult to remove their watermarks because they're all over the place. But to show you a pretty simple example is this piece right here with the plain green background. You just use the eyedrop tool, which we select using the I button. Now my Photoshop is in Swedish and I apologize for that, but I couldn't find a way to actually change the language. So I'm gonna just use the English words and tell you the shortcut buttons and show you the icons, and hopefully you can use them pretty much the same way in your whatever language your version of Photoshop is. So press I to select the eyedrop tool and click on the background color, and then press B to select the brush tool, which is right below, and make sure we have the color we selected in the foreground. You see, this is the foreground and this is the background color. So we make sure it's in the foreground. If it's not, we can just press X to switch and then just drag across using our brush tool. And if it isn't big enough, you can hold down Alt, press right click and drag to size it up or down. There we go. It's kind of lagging for me right now, I'm not sure why. Probably because I'm recording at the same time, but either way, that's pretty easy on a background like this. It works the same way if the background is white, like over here. Just press I on the background and press the brush tool to get that and just paint all over it, and it's gone. On a gradient like this, however, it's a bit more difficult, because if you do the same thing here, choose the color right next to it and paint along, it doesn't look quite right. You can go piece by piece, but it's still gonna look pretty weird if you zoom out and look at it as a whole picture. We can actually try that real quick. I'm gonna do that just to show you. Now, as you can see, I didn't remove all of it, but it looks kinda spotty. It doesn't look quite right. So I'm gonna go over to another one with a similar gradient, and I'm going to use the clone tool, which is the I think it's called stamp tool or clone tool. Either way, it's this little mark here. Use the top one, and this is actually a super useful tool which you can use in a lot of situations, not just while removing watermarks. You can remove pretty much anything using this. Doesn't matter if it's a watermark or if it's a sit on your face or whatever it is. This tool is super useful. So how it works is, you select an area, while holding down Alt, this little icon pops up instead of the regular circle. So hold on Alt and select the area you want to use, and click that, and when you drag across this little line here, it will follow along where you move your mouse. So it selects the correct gradient, and that looks a lot better. I didn't get it quite right, so the gradient is a bit dark, but I'm gonna try again. I'll select the area just outside, go in and drag down, and that looks pretty good actually. Now, just to show you how it works a bit better, I'm going to select this area on the tooth, and I'm going to drag down here. So you can see it goes down along with my mouse. So that's how that tool works, and it can be used in a lot of situations. On something like this, however, it's actually really pixely here, but on something like this with this little detail in the background that isn't really even clear, it's a bit more tricky, but I would recommend using the eyedrop to select the color, which is a brownish here, and use a really small brush tool with a flow of around 50%. Just paint along, and then use the eyedrop or the clone tool, depending on what kind of background you're dealing with. Again, if it's a complex background, use the clone tool, and if it's a simple plain background, you can use the brush tool. But just paint against, oh, oops, wrong color. Select the screen and paint against like so. Now if we zoom out, you can barely tell there was anything there. If we zoom in, however, we can tell because of its pixely nature around here, it's quite obvious that we've been painting over it because it's no longer pixely like this. But if we want it to be like that, we can just use the clone tool using a higher hardness to select this pixely area and just put it in here. And we can just keep repeating this method all the way down here. But I'm not gonna waste my time doing this just to show you. I'm gonna show you on a more difficult part, which is why I've prepared Mr. Obama here with my own watermark and an identical one right next to it for a comparison. And first of all, I'm just going to remove the let's remove the E or the R. Let's remove the R on the left one. And as you can see, there are two different layers. I'm just gonna show you real quick. This is the one with the watermark, it's on top, and this is the one without the watermark right there. So I'm going to remove the R using just the clone tool because the background is complex, and if we use a color, it won't look right at all. I can show you real quick how it will look. So if we select a color and just paint over it, it won't look right because the skin isn't a color. You see, it's a texture, so to say. So we're using the clone tool and we select an area around using 0 hardness to make it blend real good and just go across. Now make sure you select areas which seem appropriate. If you want to paint over this, you want to use an area which looks like it would be there, because you want to use the surrounding area to replace something that would have been in the area the watermark is. So there we go, we have quickly removed the R, even with a bit more complex background like this. Because it's just a surface with similar patterns, you can easily use the clone tool to remove that. It becomes a lot more difficult, however, on a piece like the eye or the mouth, but I'm going to show you that as well. It takes a bit more time and it's a bit more tricky, but it is perfectly possible using just the clone tool and occasionally the paintbrush and the eye drop if it's appropriate. Alright, there we go, we have removed the bottom of the E from the mouth as well. And yeah, I think that pretty much proves this method can be used for most things. There are situations when it's either really difficult or close to impossible to remove a watermark using the clone tool method, and it is the only method I know, and I have been able to use it on everything I've attempted, more or less. It is however sometimes really time consuming, like for example removing all the watermark from this image would take, I'd say, at least half an hour if you're fairly good at it. And I think that's all I have to show you. Just the clone tool, hold down Alt to select and drag along just using the left. Actually hold down Alt and click to select and just draw along to use the tool. And yeah, I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else I was going to show you. Now these are just the methods I've discovered or learned during my years of photoshopping. I'm not a professional photoshopper or anything like that by any means. I'm just a regular guy who's had some fun photoshopping. If you have any questions, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you want to see more Photoshop tutorials or just Photoshop stuff in general, let me know and maybe I'll make some more. But anyways, I think this is it for this video. So yeah, I hope this could help at least some of you out in some way, and if nothing else, maybe you learned something new.